Okay, so this afternoon we have prospecting, personal growth, and doing a party. So Rachel Royal is going to be teaching our prospecting class. And the reason that I've asked Rachel to do prospecting is because she has become a master at not only getting the leads, but tracking the leads. I think we're all really good at getting leads, or most of us are, but tracking them. And there are a couple of pieces in your books that were created by her, and so she'll probably point that out and teach from that. So if you all will give your attention over to Rachel, and she's going to be, yep, if you will just stand right there and teach your, or you can sit, either one, stand or sit, and I'll adjust the camera. But so y'all give her a big round of applause.
So if y'all can just all open your books to prospecting, and the very first sheet in there says 13 prospecting points to remember. There are 13 because Mary Kay's lucky number is 13. So I'm gonna, this is kind of like a bullet point that you can read over, but I'm going to go into more depth explaining each one of them. And then the one after that is a little customer sheet that you can use to keep up with your leads. This is what I've been using since I started in like March of last year, and I have hundreds of these pages with numbers that I can go back through and look at, but we'll talk more about that later. So first of all, how many of you, when you go out, don't talk to people because you don't have the confidence? Okay.
Yeah.
What is it, something about that you feel like you're going to be bothering that person, or that you don't feel confident in the way you look, or what exactly is it that bothers you about talking to people that you don't know?
I feel confident as to what to say.
Okay. Anybody else?
Rejection.
Okay.
I feel like I'm going to impose on them.
Okay. So the way that I look at it, when you're going out about your life, I'm not going out to prospect people. That's the thing that you really need to remember, is that you're offering them the gift of you caring about them enough as a person to say hello to them, to give them a smile. It's not like you're supposed to have in your mind that you're going to get them to do a facial, because depending on different personality types, you may not be able to mention that you're in Mary Kay as soon as you meet that person. So that is our little teaching tool here, is that you're giving them a gift just by giving them a smile or saying a nice word to them. And you always want to make sure that it is genuine. I know if I go out to the grocery store, or if I'm going to the gym and I haven't put any makeup on, I'm not feeling my best. I don't feel like I look my best. So, like Mary Ann was saying earlier, you're kind of like head down. If you see somebody you're like, please don't talk, please don't talk, please don't talk. Like, you're like looking down and trying to see. You don't want them to look at you, because especially like if I'll run into like a sharp woman at the store and I don't have my face put together and I'm just wearing gym clothes, which is fine, but if you look a little more polished, then you'll have more confidence to say something. But it really is something that makes me withdraw in myself rather than be focused on giving outward. So that's one thing that when, especially if I'm doing a facial with somebody and they're like, oh, I feel like I'm just looking fake or whatever, if you feel better about yourself enough to smile at somebody who maybe really needed a smile at that time, I feel like you're not being fake. You're just giving more of yourself to somebody else. So basically you need to wear the product when you go out. Like Mary Ann was saying earlier, or Anna Jane, one of them, just do a dash out the door look. If you're going to the gym, go to the store real quick, the post office, whatever, because you never know who you're going to meet. And if you're feeling better about yourself, you're more likely to project that out to other people. So wear the product. Your face is your business card. That's what we're in the business for, selling skincare and makeup. So that's really a big thing. Make sure you're using the skincare. Make sure you're wearing the product. And then another thing, this kind of goes along with feeling better about yourself and making sure you're paying attention to your surroundings. Like my mom, she has total tunnel vision when she's in public because she's not confident at all. So she'll keep to herself. She doesn't notice her surroundings. She doesn't notice that there's somebody that she knows. If somebody speaks to her, she'll say something real quick and look back. I always try to make sure, and I've noticed that since I was a kid, I always try to make sure that I'm looking around, smiling at people, and just, it doesn't have to be hard. Like, if you're sitting there thinking the whole time that you're trying to prospect that person, it's not going to be natural. So you just, say I'm in the grocery store and I'm looking for the avocados, and some lady comes up beside me and she says, "Oh man, these avocados are hard." Like, no, they can't find any good ones. Just start a conversation like that. It's something really simple. You just be natural. Like you were, I don't know, maybe say she has a little boy with her and you have your little boy with you. You know, how old is he? Just something like that to kind of gauge their personality. If they start talking about their kids and stuff like that, you know that they're a very family-oriented type person. You probably don't need to ask them to do a facial right then, because that's not their personality type. Those kind of people, they need to have trust built before you can throw something like that out there. So like if you're going to church, the same thing. Build relationships with people. There are very few people in my experience that you can just go up to them and say, "Oh my gosh, I love your makeup. Have you ever tried Mary Kay?" Somebody like me who has a dominant type personality, you can do that to. But somebody like, say, I'm trying to think, probably Renee, probably couldn't do that too, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So somebody who's more, or like maybe Marsha even, you know, you wouldn't want to just go up to her and be like, "Oh my gosh, can I do a facial on you?" Because she's going to be like, "Crazy lady." Like, she might agree to it, she might even give it her number, but she's probably not going to answer when you call. So just stuff like that. Just keep your eyes open for somebody that you can bless with a smile. And speak to people you make eye contact with. If somebody looks at you, look back. "Hi, how are you?" You know, just regular conversation, making conversation with people. And if you're like, say you have a waitress who's waiting on you and she's really nice, you see she has her makeup done well, or you like a piece of jewelry she's wearing, give her a sincere compliment. And that can kind of start a conversation from there. So it depends on how much time you have to talk to a person as to how you're going to start the conversation and how you're going to end it. And definitely ask people questions about themselves. You know, like I said, comment on one striking thing that you notice about them, and then just take it from there. You ask questions about them, ask them where you're from, if they have any kids, you know, if they're military, like we're in a military town, that really starts the conversation usually. Ask people about themselves, that also helps you gauge their personality type. And just figure out how you're going to end the conversation. Do not start a conversation about Mary Kay in most instances. That's something that's very off-putting to most people because all they see is that you've got dollar signs in your eyes. People don't like that. If you hand out a business card, ask if you can get their name and number in the event that they lose your card. You can verbally recognize that you're sure they're busy and you'd love to put it on your calendar to remember to call them instead of the other way around. If you say it that way, phrase it that way, most people are going to say, "Oh yeah, sure." So
I love that.
But you have to ask them. You have to ask them. If you just give them your card and you don't ask for their information, they're not going to offer it to you. And it's most of the time when I've just handed out a card, I've not gotten a call back. You know, so, but I've actually asked for somebody's number, called them, or texted them, and I'll ask what is the way that they prefer to be contacted, and then you might get a facial out of it. So it's not going to happen every time, but it's more likely that you're going to get in contact with that person again if you have their information. Because most people are going to lose a business card or just don't think about it, you know. And then number 6, look for networking opportunities. Community events like festivals, church events, anything like that, anything that the community has going on, that's a great way to meet people. Business networking events like the chamber business after hours, especially if you know somebody who's a member of the chamber, you can ask them if you can come as their guest. That's a great way to meet people. If it financially makes sense for you, you can join your Chamber of Commerce. That's something that I actually did at the Havelock Chamber of Commerce because there was no other Mary Kay consultant there. So I've met a lot of people that way. You can do, again, festivals and then volunteer opportunities. Say the women's shelter is doing a booth, you want to volunteer for that, or there's something for raising awareness of autism or breast cancer awareness, anything like that that you can get into and just meet people. Not necessarily, especially if you're volunteer, you don't want to just go out there and be trying to do your Mary Kay stuff. It's just a way to meet people and get into other opportunities. As far as like social media, you can sprinkle Mary Kay into your Facebook posts. You don't want to just do all Mary Kay stuff. Don't ever advertise sales or anything like that on your Facebook. You do that in a private group for your customers. But letting people know, even if you have another job, putting your job on Facebook as Mary Kay Independent Beauty Consultant, that lets people know that that's what you do. And put pictures like from events, from Mary Kay events, from meetings. If you got some sort of really great recognition, you can put a picture of that. And then I put pictures of my facials all the time, and I'll ask my customers before I do it, do you mind if I put this before and after picture on my Facebook? And sometimes they'll be like, yeah, sure, if they're not used to wearing makeup. The ones who are used to wearing makeup, most of the time, oh, you can put the after on there, which is still great. And then Facebook is not the only social media site that you can use. I don't know how many of you are familiar with other ones, but there's LinkedIn, there's Instagram, Twitter, and Google+. And you can actually create a business Google page, and people can, when people are searching, say I live in Cape Carteret, if somebody types in Mary Kay Cape Carteret, my name is the first thing that comes up. So that's a really good thing that you can do as well, and it doesn't cost anything. So that's a good way to connect with potential new clients. And another thing that I've done that's really helped out is look for business women to advertise in your professional women's portfolio, and that will basically, you're telling them that you can do that to funnel new referrals their way. So real estate agents, mortgage lenders, insurance agents, other direct sales companies, or female business owners are really good. So that is something that you can post on all of your social media sites with a little blurb about their business. And you can just literally go into a doctor's office or a bank or a real estate company or anything like that and just say, hi, this is, my name is Rachel Royal. I'm with Mary Kay, and I am looking for women to feature in my professional women's portfolio. Just trying to see if there's anybody here who might be interested in doing that. And you can fix the script however you want, but that's a way that it's sort of like cold calling, but at the same time you have a reason to be doing it, and you're not just asking something for yourself. It's giving them some sort of benefit as well. And I have a photographer, a freelance photographer that I did that with, and from me doing that, she's gotten 10 new clients just from my Facebook. So it really does help people. And then also, make conversation with your server when you go out to eat, the cashier at the grocery store, the bank teller. I know Marianne said before, if she gets your money, she gets your card as well. So you can hand that out and say, hey, I'm a Mary Kay consultant. I don't know if you've ever tried the product, but if you never had, just want to let you know I'm a consultant, I'm local, and I would love to get together with you. Give me a call, whatever. If she says, that she's interested, then you can ask her for her number if you have time. And I know like in the grocery store line, sometimes it's really busy, you don't really have time for that, and then you just have to take a chance that she calls you. But just depends on the situation, how much time there is, if it's appropriate to do that. You can also ask store managers what they do about gifting services for their employees, and if you could do like a luxury lunch to pamper their employees on their lunch hour. Like doctor's offices, I know a lot of times they close down at lunchtime. See if you can go in and do a 30-minute luxury lunch for them. You know, ask them if they're doing any sort of gifting services. Say, you know, I can love to go over with you in about 10 minutes, show you what I can do for under $20 per person. That's what I've been doing, so I've gotten a few people to interested in that. And you can do the same thing with your customers as well. You can connect with your director or your adopted director about vendor opportunities. So that's where there's maybe doing a festival and you want to do a Mary Kay booth. Now a lot of vendors, they actually sell product. I've never sold product at a booth because you don't know who's going to come up who already has a consultant, and you want to make sure that you're working by the golden rule. So what I've always done, you know, that Mary Ann has taught us is to have a drawing. So you'll have little slips of paper that ask them their name, number, address, phone number, and email address, and if they have a consultant currently, and then they can put that in the little drawing book or drawing box, and say you have like a satin hand set or satin lip set that you're doing the drawing for, let them know that. But just make sure that you are connected with your director on that. If you go out on your own and do it, make sure you're not spending a lot of money. Like, I don't think I've ever spent more than $25 on a booth, and that's high for me. So a lot of them can just be, you can split with other consultants, so that way you're only spending $10, $15 a piece, and then it most of the time ends up being worthwhile. And you can also ask whoever is in charge of that event what the expected number of attendees are, just to make sure that it's going to be something that if it's a high cost booth, there's a low number of attendees, and you're having to split between several consultants, it's probably not going to be worth your while. So just kind of check into those kind of things. And then most importantly, if you connect with someone and get their number, be sure to follow up. I can't tell you how many people I have met that know that I'm a Mary Kay consultant, and they're like, oh, well, so-and-so, you know, got my name and number, said they would call me, but they never called me. So you don't want to be that kind of person. So you want to make sure that you keep up with it, which is where this really comes in handy. Whenever I get referrals from a party, I will take the names and numbers that they put on the back. I'll write their name here, I'll write their number here. I'll just go ahead and write them all out, and then when I call them, I write the date, and if I called or texted, if I left a message, if they booked a facial, if they are coming to a meeting, if I've booked an interview, and if they tell me to call them back on a certain date, I'll write that date over here, and I'll also put a reminder in my phone. So you can put the date, ask them the time, and I normally follow up 3 to 5 times before I stop bothering that person. But you can also save them and go back maybe 2 to 3 months later and call them, and you may get them, whereas you didn't before. That's happened to me before. And like I'll go back, you know, from 5 months ago, it's like, hey, you know, you may not remember me, we met so-and-so, and you know, I just wanted to see if you were still interested in being on my call list. Well, I'm actually looking for some makeup right now, so you never know. Things change in people's lives, and some people don't check their voicemail, some people don't pay attention to text. It's just, it normally takes about 3 or 4 times before you can really figure out what somebody's, you know, communication preference is. So I'll normally call the first time because that's more professional, unless they've requested that I text them first. And I'll leave a message if there's no answer. And what I say is, if it's a referral, I say, hi, my name is Rachel. We've never met before, but we have a mutual friend in Clinchetta. And I'm calling because Clinchetta and I got together for a free Mary Kay makeover a couple of days ago. And she really loved it, so she wanted to offer you the gift of free paper. She thought you'd be a great model for my before and after portfolio. So I was just calling to find out if you've ever tried Mary Kay before. And if I'm leaving a message, I'll go on and say, if you haven't, or if you don't currently have a consultant, I'd love for you to give me a call back so that we can schedule a great time to get together. So that's just what I say. When you tell them that their friend thought they'd be a great model for your before and after portfolio, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so flattered. So most of the time that will kind of help you get that booking, whereas if you're not making it personal, then they may not have booked. Let's see, and then you never know, unless you already know that person, you may not know if they work night shift, if they work day shift, so try calling at different times a day. You know, you may try calling at 12 o'clock noon the first time. If they don't answer then, try maybe at 7 p.m. the next time. If they don't answer then, try like maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. Just try different times because you don't know what their schedule is like. And then if I've called a couple of times they haven't answered, I'll send them a text after that. Sometimes I'll get a response, whereas I didn't get a response from the voicemail. Denise, for example, I called her twice and left a voicemail, did not get a response, and then I texted her, and she's like, oh my gosh, I never listen to my voicemails. So, and you know, and then she was supposed to come to a meeting one night. She canceled last minute because it was raining and she couldn't get her window up on her Mustang. And I was like, okay, well I can come to your house on this day and this time. So it takes working with people sometimes. It doesn't always just happen. And then basically definitely use the tracking sheet. Don't throw it away because you may be able to go back months later again. So does anybody have any questions about anything?